Now we're going to start drawing the dimensions of this cabinet. There's a few places we can go look. At the very front of this, we can see that the overall width of this cabinet is 15 inches wide, and then it'll be 20 3/4 tall with the top. And we can look at other places too. We can see the face frame. The face frame has an 1/8 inch of overhang, so the width of this cabinet is 15 inches and the height is 28 inches without the top on it. So I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to throw down some guidelines to let me know the width. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the back, and I'm going to zoom in real close and try to snap right to the middle, and then double click to place a guideline there. And then I'm going to orbit around to the front, and I'm going to place a guideline here. Go until you can snap in the middle, then you can just double click and place it. And then I'm also going to go to the outside of the cabinet, and this is, remember, the 15 inches. I'm going to start on the outside, type in 15 inches, and hit enter. And now I kind of have the footprint, so I know that the other side of the cabinet is going to land here. We already did all this work to get this thing drawn. We don't want to do that again. So there's a fun trick in here. If I go to the Move tool, and if you can't find the Move tool, you might have to click on the 3 dots, and the Move tool will be in here. But I haven't done anything other than click the Move tool, but I'm going to push Control on the keyboard. And notice when I push Control on the keyboard, a plus shows up. Oops. So you see how there's a plus now with that red compass? That means that I am going to actually make a copy of whatever the next thing I click on. So I'm going to come down here to the corner, and you see how it made a copy of that? And I'm going to go put that right in the corner of the guideline that I drew. Now, everybody can see there's a problem here. That problem is that I have this thing flipped. You know, it's not a left and a right side. We got 2 left sides right now. So I'm going to come back, click on, so I got rid of the Move tool. I clicked on the Pointer tool. And now when I click on this and activate it, I got to find this cool tool called Flip. So I go back to the 3 dots, and I got to scour this until I find the Flip right there. So when I click on the Flip, it's going to give me the 3 axes that I can flip on. I want to flip it on the red axis. So all I have to do, whoops, I lost it. Thankfully, it's back here. I want to flip on the red axis, so I hover over the red axis, and I click on it. And you see how it just flipped that? It mirrored it. If I would have flipped on clicked on the blue one, it would have put it upside down. I'll undo that. So I want to flip on the red axis. And now I have a cabinet that is got a left and a right side. And you know what? I did this on purpose. I forgot to draw something. Watch this. So there should be one of these dados on the very top of this, so that there's going to be some stringers that attach. So here's how I fix that. And this is what's so great about duplicating a component. I'm going to come over here and right click and say Edit Component. And I am going to do the same thing, or a similar thing. I'm going to draw down a guideline, 0.75 inches, and then I'm going to put a rectangle that goes front to back on that 0.75. Now I'll grab the Push-Pull tool, and I'm going to push it in, 0.25, enter. And I'm just going to click somewhere else out here. And notice what happened. Do you see? I got to get back that orbit. Oh, it's right there. It automatically updated it over here. So whatever I do to one side, it will do to the other side. So now I can get those stringers up here. And I have that added, it's actually called a rabbit instead of a dado, but very similar. So this thing, if you missed the dimensions, I did that pretty quickly. It is 3/4 of an inch down, and that same 1/4 of an inch deep. That is right here on the very top. So it's going to cut a dado or a rabbit here and a rabbit right here. Now I have the sides done. I'm going to get rid of these dimension tools because it just kind of muddies up the water. Get rid of that. And it's not letting me delete that because it's a part of the component. So what I have to do is go back to Edit Component, and then I can delete that guideline. If I try to draw something on a side, that's a component. Let's say I tried to put a rabbit or a dado in here. I can't do anything. I can pull it out, but do you see how it's a separate component? It's not the same. So if I am having trouble, let's say I made that dado and I want to try to push it in, but it's not pushing in, chances are I just made a dado. I tried to make a dado without editing the component. So you have to edit the component, and then you'll be able to push things into it. Otherwise, SketchUp fuses them together. Now I need to get a bottom shelf in here. So to do a bottom shelf, and I noticed something. To do a bottom shelf, I'm going to have to kind of orbit this just right and pan in here just right so I can see the inside of my dado. Because this is a component, now this new thing that I'm going to draw is going to sit on top of the side instead of being drawn. So I had to make sure I carefully zoomed in enough that I can click the inside of the dado here, and then I want to zoom in enough, and I could click that orbit tool, zoom in, and then if I hit escape, it goes right back to the rectangle tool, and I'm placing it there. So it's carefully placed. Now, but watch the magic. I can grab this push-pull tool, and you see how it pulls that out? And I'm going to snap it right to the other dado. And then before you do anything else, triple-click this. I need to zoom out a little bit so I can see. Triple-click this, make it a component, and call it shelf. Okay, now nothing else that we draw is going to be attached to this. So you can see if I click on the sides or the bottom shelf that it is its own entity. It's not anything else. Last thing I need to draw, and our cabinet is complete in SketchUp, is these things called stringers. And it's what we use to hold the top of the cabinet. So it's not wobbly, it's not toed in, toed out, or a rhombus. And then it also is how we attach the solid wood top to it, is these things called stringers. I don't want to be a part of the sides, so I'm making sure that I'm not editing the component. These stringers are going to be 2 inches wide. I'm coming over here, 2 inches. Same thing back here. I'm going to draw in 2 inches. And then I go here, draw a rectangle. I'll orbit around so I can see where the landing spot is. There's that one. And remember, make it a component right away. Stringer. Now, I like doing it this route. I'll grab the move tool, hit control, I get that plus, then I can grab a corner, and I snap it right in place. And I can get rid of these guidelines. Now, if you want to, double check this to make sure that it is all components. So before I send this to VCarve, I'm going to click each piece and make sure that each piece is its own component, that it's not fused with anything else. And then the last thing I want to do is I am going to erase this guy because I don't want to cut him out on the CNC router. These are the parts that we're going to cut out on the CNC router. Now, if you are turning this part in for credit, for points, I'm just going to double check this measurement, make sure we're at 15. Yep, we're good. This is the step that you have to do to turn this in for points. Number one, we should save this. So I'm going to come up here and hit save. I'm going to save this to SketchUp. Woods 1, nightstand. I'm going to call it nightstand example. Now I have all kinds of things on here from the times I've used this. So this is the nightstand example. It's saved. I want to come up here and I'm going to say download. And you can download a PNG, which is a picture of this, or you can export a DWG, a DXF. We're going to go a DXF, and we're going to see what happens here. Oh, we have to have the nicer version of SketchUp. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this. I want to leave a white background. Hold on, before we print it, I want you to put your name on here. You can see that the camera view changed a little bit to parallel projection. If that happens, to switch it back, somewhere is over here. There is, this shows me all my components, which is kind of nice. There's one over here. It takes me a minute to find it. we can go back to perspective drawing. You see how it kind of skews it out? We want to be in perspective. But what I'd like you to do before you turn this in so that we all know it's yours is I want you to get the 3D text, put your name, say OK, and I want you to put it next to your cabinet, on the side of your cabinet. However you want to do it is fine. And I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to rotate it. If I look at the end, I can rotate it. I probably could have done this in the setting, so I didn't have to do this now. Rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm also going to use this other button called Scale. Shrink it down just a hair. And then give me a view that shows what you did. Now, come back up here and say Print. White background is fine. I can see all your parts, your name. Print to PDF. And now this is going to be in your downloads. If I was you, and this was in my downloads, I would get this to my my network drive in a hurry so you don't lose it. So I come down here, and obviously I have way more files than you probably will. Come down here to Woods 1. If you don't have a Woods 1 folder, get a Woods 1 folder. And you may have to go like this first. Downloads. You might have to just drag it to your desktop first and then go back to your network drive. Bring it into Woods 1 and then just drag and drop it into here. And that nightstand example is what you're going to upload to the Canvas assignment. So make sure you do that well. So this is what I should see when I grade your project. Please let me know if you have questions. Send me an email. You also can feel free to talk to your classmates, because that is going to be what